it's Kaylin, and today I'm going to go through the books that I am planning to read for December and January. Now, I usually don't stick to TBRs per month, so I figured I would do 2 months at a time. That way, I'm giving myself a reasonable amount of time to finish the books that I want to read. I have 5 books here to show you, and I'll just start with what I'm currently reading and then what I'm planning to read after that. So, the first book that I have is Mindhunter by John Douglas, and this is a true crime, basically biography and nonfiction book about the Behavioral Analysis Unit of the FBI. And it was basically started by John Douglas, who, if you've seen The Silence of the Lambs, the character of Jack Crawford, I guess he's like the lead detective. He is based off of this man, and this guy interviewed many different famous serial killers, including Charles Manson, Ted Bundy, and Ed Gein, and it details his experiences. And I just started it. I'm very much in the beginning of this book, but I haven't gotten very far into it, but I am looking forward to reading it. I've always been fascinated with true crime, and so this will be interesting to kind of see where the beginnings of behavioral analysis really began. If I'm not mistaken, it was really started with John Douglas and his team investigating serial killings and deaths based on studying a profile of the suspected killer and figuring out what kind of person, what type of person would be involved in these crimes, and then going and solving the murders from there. And that's just kind of brief run through of what this book covers. But it's kind of a chunker. It's about 400 pages, so it's not very long. And there should be some pictures in the middle. That would be kind of interesting to see. But anyway, there's a Netflix show that I probably have heard of. It's Mindhunter, based loosely on this book. So the show is pretty good. I've seen the first season. I don't know when the second season's coming out. But anyway, that's Mindhunter. And the next book is also a true crime book that I am reading with my sister, and it's called Dangerous Ground by M. William Phelps, My Friendship with a Serial Killer. And this man has written a lot of other true crime books, I believe. I've never read any others, but he has a show called Dark Minds, and he, I guess, talks about his relationship with this serial killer whose nickname is Raven. It goes into the actual identity of this killer, but in the show, I believe it did not. So it leaves you wondering who it is. I have actually heard of this particular serial killer, and so I'm familiar with the case a little bit. He actually has a daughter who wrote about her experiences growing up and then realizing her father was not who she thought she was, and that book was fascinating. So this is going to go into this man's relationship. I guess he's an investigative journalist, and he spent lots of time talking with this man, with this murderer, and in interviews, live interviews, and hundreds of letters. And so we will find out what that relationship will be like, because he actually considers him a friend, as the title suggests. So that's kind of interesting to see how that develops. So I'm reading that with my sister. I just started it too. I'm kind of taking on multiple books at one time, which is it might not be a good idea because it's sort of slowing me down and jumping from one to the other. I'm not getting very far with any particular one book, but my interests are kind of jumping around, and so I'm drawn to one book and then I'm drawn to the next book. So anyway, that is Dangerous Ground. And the next book I am listening to on Audible, and this is quite a shift from true crime because I don't want to read too much true crime. I find that if I immerse myself too much in that, it gets me a little depressed, and not surprisingly. So I kind of sidetracked with this book, and this is called I Must Say by Martin Short. And if you don't know, Martin Short is a comedian. And he's been in many movies, Saturday Night Live, SCTV, I think, in Canada. He's from Canada, and he's been in The Three Amigos. He has a very, very funny character named Jiminy Glick, who I find absolutely hilarious. So I wanted to get a little background on him and find out, his life growing up and how he got into what he does. And so far, I'm listening to this like in my car on Audible. So when I take long drives, especially, I have a little bit of time to kind of get into it, and I'm enjoying it. He narrates the book, which is great, so you can hear his voice, and he gets into character, and just this is really funny. So I think he's a bit underrated as a comedic actor. You don't always hear a whole lot about him, but I think he's hilarious and deserves a lot more attention. But anyway, that's I must say it's about 318 pages or so. So this should be a quick listen. So that is the departure from true crime into a little bit of humor. The next book I plan to read is This Naked Mind. It's called Control Alcohol, Find Freedom, Discover Happiness, and Change Your Life. This book was just kind of, I wanted to get more information about, I don't currently drink a whole lot, to be completely honest with you, but sometimes it has led to negative things in the past, so I really like to kind of curb that a little bit. I'm from Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, drinking is a huge part of our culture, and it's part of our entertainment. We drink on holidays, we drink on the weekends, we drink just to have an excuse to drink, really. And it's very accepted, it's very understood that we're just a big drinking culture. And I would like to kind of step away from that a little bit. As far as in my lifestyle, I find that as I get a little bit older, alcohol affects me more negatively physically, and I don't like feeling that way, and also mentally. So I would rather have, a bit more positive life and kind of really curb the alcohol a lot more. I don't keep alcohol in my house, and I consider it largely a social activity for myself, but I would be interested in learning more about kind of, just how to just at a social event just to say no, and just to kind of discover or rediscover that you can have fun without taking a sip of that wine, or drinking a whiskey or vodka. So I just wanted to get this perspective and, kind of tell myself, yeah, alcohol does not need to be involved in every social situation. So anyway, that's that. This Naked Mind, Control Alcohol, Find Freedom, Discover Happiness, and Change Your Life by Annie Grace. And the last book that I have is one that I am going to be buddy reading with a coworker. I keep buddy reading with different people, but I keep finding people who want to read books that I'm interested in. So I say, let's just buddy read it. And so that book is The Outsider by Stephen King. It's his latest. I think actually he might have come out with something that more recent than this. That's kind of a short book. It might be called Revival, or maybe that's an older book. But I think he just came out with one that's fairly short. But The Outsider, I've heard good things about it. I think it was voted best thriller read on the Goodreads poll this year. So my friend Trina and I are going to be reading this, and it should be pretty good. It's a chunker. It's about 500 pages or so, a little more than that. But if it's with Stephen King, I kind of have a hit or miss relationship. Sorry, I'm not really giving my book enough room on the screen here. But I kind of have a hit or miss relationship with Stephen King. I either really, really love his books, or they're just not hits with me. But I'm going to give this a shot. I read Dolores Claiborne earlier in the year and just loved it. And so I'm going to try The Outsider. As far as the plot, I think there's a murdered child, and I think, okay, maybe English teacher, Little League coach, I think he becomes a suspect. I don't remember. I read the synopsis quite a while ago. But anyway, it's a thriller. It's Stephen King, so you don't have to really say a whole lot more than that. Anyway, these are the books that I plan to read for both December and January. We'll see how far I get. I might change my TBR, which I tend to do, because based on my moods, I might say I don't want to read that. I want to read something else. So, but anyway, that's generally what I'm planning to read and what I'm currently reading for December and January. So, if you've read any of these books or you want to share what you're reading, please do in the comments below, and subscribe if you like this video. And I will talk to you in my next one. Have a great day. Bye.